Let me ask you something. What if creating cinematic wildlife videos didn't require expensive cameras, drones, or a whole production team? I'm an Oton, and today I'm talking about AI.
Hey, welcome to Planet of Wildlife. This channel is all about wildlife, nature, and how technology, especially AI, is starting to change the way we tell stories about the wild. And today, we're talking about something that's getting a lot of attention right now, Kling 3.0.
Kling 3.0 is an upcoming AI video model that many creators believe could be a big step forward in AI-generated video. Right now, the latest available version is Kling 2.6. With Kling 2.6, creators can generate AI videos up to about 10 seconds, with a maximum resolution of 1080p. And yes, it already supports audio or sound. For short wildlife clips or visual experiments, that's actually pretty solid. But once scenes get more complex, like animal movement or environmental interaction, things can still feel a bit unstable.
Kling 3.0 is getting a lot of attention, and Higgsfield is one of the places where creators are following its progress closely. Alright, now let's jump into Higgsfield.ai. On screen right now, you're looking at the Higgsfield website. One cool thing about Higgsfield is that you can start from images first. Here, you can generate hyper-realistic images using Nano Banana Pro. And once you have that image, you can then turn it into a video using Kling 2.6. So the workflow goes from image to video, which is super useful if you want more control over how your scene looks, especially for wildlife content. With this workflow, you can actually create wildlife documentaries and stories about life in the wild using AI. From realistic images to moving scenes, AI helps bring animals, environments, and natural behavior to life, even without being physically out in the wild. And this is where things get really interesting, because once you start using AI to create wildlife scenes, you quickly realize that visual quality, motion, and consistency matter a lot. That's why so many creators are paying close attention to what's coming next with Kling 3.0. Based on early signals and community discussions, Kling 3.0 is expected to take things further with smoother motion, better scene consistency, and a more connected creative workflow. Again, these are expectations, not final features, but they give us a pretty clear idea of why Kling 3.0 is such a big topic right now.
Based on what's being discussed across curated sources and community conversations, here's what many people are expecting from Kling 3.0. First, next-generation video quality. When people talk about this, they're not just thinking about higher resolution. They're talking about cleaner realism, animals that look more natural, environments that feel more alive, and lighting that behaves more like it does in the real world. Another big part of this is smoother motion. Movements are expected to feel more fluid and less mechanical, especially in complex scenes like animals walking, running, or interacting with their surroundings. And then there's shot-to-shot consistency. This is a huge one for storytelling. The expectation is that characters, textures, and environments stay consistent from one shot to the next, instead of shifting or breaking immersion. Put together, this level of video quality would make AI-generated scenes feel more cinematic and more production-ready, especially for wildlife-style storytelling. Again, these are expectations based on early signals and public discussions, not confirmed features, but they help explain why so many creators are closely watching Kling 3.0.
Second, something often referred to as Kling 3.0 Omni. The idea behind Omni is a more unified creative workflow. Instead of treating each shot as a separate piece, the system is expected to understand context across scenes, how one moment connects to the next. This means stronger continuity in characters, environments, and overall visual style. For storytelling, especially wildlife storytelling, that continuity is critical. The expectation is that Kling 3.0 becomes smarter at maintaining consistency, remembering how an animal looks, how an environment is shaped, and how movement flows from one scene to another. In simple terms, Omni is about making the entire video feel like one connected sequence, not a collection of disconnected clips. Third, higher-end output targets. One of the most talked about topics in community discussions is the possibility of native 4K video output at 60 frames per second. Compared to the current 1080p limit, this would be a massive upgrade, especially for content that relies on fine details like fur, textures, lighting, and environmental depth. Higher frame rates also means smoother motion, which is especially important for wildlife scenes involving movement, speed, and interaction. Again, this isn't confirmed yet, but it's a recurring theme in public public discussions, and a big reason why expectations around Kling 3.0 are so high. Fourth, longer video clips. Right now, one of the biggest limitations in AI video is duration. That's why many users are hoping Kling 3.0 can push clip length to around 15 seconds while still keeping everything stable. Stability here is the key word. The expectation isn't just longer clips, but clips where characters don't suddenly change, environments stay consistent, and motion doesn't fall apart halfway through the scene. For wildlife storytelling, longer and more stable clips mean better pacing, stronger atmosphere, and more time to let a moment breathe, like watching an animal move naturally through its environment. Fifth, sharper close-ups and macro shots. This matters a lot for wildlife visuals. Close-up shots are where realism is really tested. Fur, skin, feathers, textures, and fine details. The expectation is that Kling 3.0 delivers cleaner textures, finer details, and more realistic surfaces, especially in tight shots where imperfections are easiest to spot. Better macro detail would make AI-generated wildlife scenes feel more immersive and more believable, even when the camera gets close. And finally, better physics and interactions. This is one of the most important areas for realism. People are watching closely for improvements in how movement and contact are handled. Things like hands touching objects, animals interacting with their environment, or bodies reacting naturally to motion. The hope is for fewer visual glitches, less melting or distortion, and more believable motion overall. When physics and interactions feel right, AI-generated wildlife scenes stop looking artificial and start feeling alive. Again, all of this reflects community expectations and early signals, not confirmed specifications, but together they paint a clear picture of why so many creators are excited about what Kling 3.0 could bring. If Kling 3.0 launches anywhere close to these expectations, it could become a really powerful tool for creating wildlife content that feels more alive, more cinematic, and more story-driven. I'm your AI orangutan from Planet of Wildlife. If you're into wildlife, nature, and how AI is changing the way we tell stories about the wild, make sure you stick around on this channel. And if you're curious to explore how this AI workflow works, you can check out Higgsfield. That's where you can start creating hyper-realistic images and turn them into AI videos. You'll find all the Higgsfield links in the description. See you in the digital jungle.